Good. All right, welcome everybody to the Pleasant View Planning Commission meeting agenda for Thursday, March 26, 2026. It is 6 p.m. So we're Pleasant View Planning Commission meeting agenda. Don't like the air so. For Thursday, March 26, 2026. It is 6 p.m. So Pleasant View Planning Commission meeting. We're going back to David's.
I'm still here. Still here.
All right, we're gonna test it again. Gotta wait for 30 seconds, see if we get a reverb. Okay, we'd like to thank all the commissioners for joining us on this extra planning meeting for this month. Thank you for the staff for setting this up and helping us push some of these items through. First, to apologize for not being able to attend the last couple months. I appreciate Jeff for filling in for us as I was not able to attend, traveling out of state. We'd like to go ahead and start by asking Commissioner Stokes to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer, reading of expression and thought.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for this day. We are grateful for all the many blessings that we have. We're grateful to be able to come together as a planning commission and discuss the matters of our community. We wish to conduct ourselves in a manner that's pleasing unto thee, and please bless all of those that are serving our country and our community this day. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. We have an agenda before us.
Hey. I still got to read my expression.
You got
thought. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
My favorite one is whether you believe you can or can't. Either way, you're right. There you go.
There you go. Commissioners, we have a agenda set before us. We ask if everybody's had a chance to read it, if there's anyone that needs to declare any conflicts of interest tonight. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move to the minutes. Item 2, review and consideration of Planning Commission meeting minutes prepared for October 2nd, 2025. Is anybody needing to make any suggestions, changes, or recommendation for updates?
It's not a major change, but I didn't recognize Sherry Neff at the top of page 3. It is just misspelled. It should be Chair Neff, but I was trying to think, I don't know a Sherry Neff.
I don't either. That's a new one.
You said the top of page 3?
Yeah.
Top of page 3 under petitioner Janine Stein, the first line.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll motion to accept the minutes for the October 2nd, 2025 meeting as presented with corrections recommended.
Dean's made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? For the record, it's unanimous. We'll go ahead and we'll move to our administrative items. We have three, item 3B has been tabled or pulled from the agenda tonight. So we have 3 items. Our first one is a site plan amendment considered to amend an approved site plan for the addition of a fuel station at an existing business located at 2780 North, US 89. We'll go ahead and ask Tammy if she'll present the packet on this tonight.
Okay. So we have a site plan amendment before us tonight for consideration. This is for Admiral Beverage on the corner of 2700 North and Highway 89. This is in the CP3 zone. And they have petitioned for the addition of a fuel island fueling station on the west side of their building. In your packet, you have this proposed site plan amendment showing the location of the island on the west side. The proposal is to add a 15,000 gallon double wall fuel tank and a 1,000 gallon blue def tank with a fuel pump, and the fuel island consists of 20-foot by 70-foot concrete slab for the base of the two tanks and the pump. There is, on each end of the pump or of the island, there would be 10-foot concrete walls as concrete barriers at the end of each fuel tank, as well as concrete safety bollards along both sides of the concrete pad. The proposed site plan includes removing 9 parking stalls to the south of that area. Those shown here on the plan where the dashed lines are. And then they are proposing adding 39 new stalls here along the west side of the building, where each of those stalls will have a concrete safety bollard in front of them, separating them from the building. We looked into, Commissioner Gosner emailed me this morning a couple questions that he had regarding the location of this being close to where the proposed cemetery is and the church that's on the kind of the northeast side of the whole building, and that was possibly a concern for him. I don't see that that's, he was questioning about setbacks and that this is obviously quite a ways from any of the residential that would be a concern. Even though the cemetery and the church are both in the RE20 zone, the building itself or the fuel station itself is not adjacent to any residential. He had a concern with increased traffic of trucks. This wouldn't be a concern because it's not increasing their traffic. It's just servicing traffic that they already have. So staff proposes that a recommended approval of the site plan amendment as it's presented. We do have on the site plan, there were a couple questions, or one question that our Public Works Director added about, there's 2 storm drains right here along the parking area that he just was questioning whether or not we needed to have added protection there. Just today I did get a kind of a clarification on that, and I haven't passed that on to the applicant yet, but it would be just about addressing that storm drain issue. So
Did Tyson have a recommendation or what they would do with it, or?
his was mostly a question to the engineers, to Dana, about if there was anything that needed to be added there to protect the storm drain. So she had just a couple comments that says, provide additional information regarding grading and stormwater capture, existing stormwater. Stormwater should be controlled from fueling area and sent through a treatment device prior to discharge to pond. So I will be forwarding that to the applicant, and I'm not sure if anyone's here. Oh, Jason, right? No, yeah, you're Jim. Okay, yeah. So those were just questions that came up in our review that I just received today. So at that, we recommend approval. Staff recommends approval of the site plan amendment. You can have discussion and ask the applicant.
And we can also make it pending a
Make it
review
pending.
by the staff of
Right.
the recommendation by engineer type of thing.
Yep.
Okay, any questions for staff? Anybody have a question? And Tammy, just with just so I make sure that I'm looking at this properly. Is 89's out here?
Yes,
And so the
And they-
retention,
they own the property
It's this way.
between 89. This,
so this would be the 89, and this is where they have kind of that retention pond right now, is that right? Or that little,
probably- yeah, it's, so, right here,
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking my bearings here.
yeah, so this is upside down.
That's why I was like, wait a minute.
Those blocks in question that, I was talking about, we'll keep those covered in powder during the excavation. You don't wanna get.
Right,
It's probably more of a concern of a fuel
If
leak
there's a
than
fuel leak, I think
the
that's the way I
construction
should.
debris.
That would be my concern as well.
Hold
Okay,
on
let's
just a second.
go ahead and hold on just a second and we'll hold that. Are there any other questions from staff?
I'm just wondering at what point you have an industrial property fronting residential 20 property. That's a chain link fence. I understood we had to have masonry fences between commercial properties and residential properties.
I mean, property, yeah, that's not,
Or, well,
yeah.
the residential zone.
North of your property.
Can you pull up the larger site?
What?
What's
Can you
that?
pull up the one that had the bigger maps?
Besides the church.
Okay, so
Right there.
this is technically,
The
this is where the church is,
right.
this is technically RE 20. This is where the proposed cemetery is, also RE 20. But there's not gonna be any
Yeah.
dwellings there.
And so-
Understood, but it's still, I mean, if you're going to make an exception, you have to make exceptions for others as well.
Mm,
They're not changing anything to do with the footprint of the site. They're installing a fuel island. So I don't think that we can require them to add a fence at this time. If they were changing the structure of their building, by all means, we could address it at that point.
They are pouring concrete right up to the property line.
Not the residential property line though.
Yeah,
Cool. So if I'm looking at this, it's actually going this way, putting it.
Yeah, it'll be on
89's
this
here,
side.
there's the church, so. The only what is this one zone?
That is partial A2 or partial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're okay,
CB1.
yeah.
would be the north side.
Along the west side.
Well, the north side is what abuts the RE20.
I think there is between the church and.
I think they had to put it in the original. Yeah, I think that was originally, they put in the extension, the addition on, they had to put that on between them and
Yeah.
this whole way, and that was a long discussion. Okay, could we have the petitioner, Jim, would you mind coming up, state your name and address for the record, please?
My name's Jim. Address is 7971 North, 3300 West, Honeyville, Utah.
Okay, welcome. Do you have anything first that you would like to add, what we've heard from the staff, or anything that you would like before we open
Well,
up
I
our
heard
discussion?
earlier you're worried about the storm drain and because we, particularly in, there's a spillage. Well, the guys that have designed this system, the fuel supplier, they've drawn out so there's a curve and then elevation drops down that so that if there was if it did spill, it would actually contain itself in the curved wall outside the bottom before it ever could get to the.
And it sounds to me like that's just something that we could tack on, have the engineer work with your group and make sure that it's reviewed before.
Yeah, I
It's
think
fine.
that's
Been
what,
in those plans that we
Yeah.
submitted.
let me look.
And but there's a rolled curve that drops down into it, then they've designed that so that it holds enough gallons to cover so that if somebody let one. There's something out, it would contain itself.
That's
And-
within the island itself.
Yes, inside the aisle.
And this, everything slopes away from the storm drain.
Yes.
It's all sloping, this is backwards, but it's sloping west
Yeah,
rather than,
well, that's why it
towards building,
felt
yeah.
backwards to me here, because I drive the other way.
So the existing boxes up next to the building, in between the existing driveway and that building, those would still all have slope in them, but everything
Everything
west of
from
that, sheet off to the
Sounds
ground.
like,
So
sounds like we'd be covered. We just need to make sure that it's
this
reviewed.
would be what you're talking, these plans here. Sorry, let me rotate you.
The ground. so- And how's this,
They already have fuel on site? Is there already fuel on today?
No,
This is the first fueling station then?
yeah.
So this is all we were submitted, that was submitted to us, was these 2 pages.
Okay, if you go down to architectural print, just, or go up. You see the outline of it, and I don't know if Jason's got elevations on that one or not.
Looks like it's marked as slope. You can see
Yeah,
it.
so you get the slope going out the 2 different ways, so it's sloping in where the truck's sitting. So we're trying to do it to hide it, so that it's not, we didn't wanna have a sharp wall to drop into, like a barrier wall, but we've got slope and then curb on that backside, so that it's dished in to hold, if it spills, it will hold itself right under the truck.
Where does it pump to?
After it's,
Yeah, it says there's a pump right in the middle. Is that just a pump
That's
to the
just-
trucks or is that a groundwater pump?
it's fuel pump to both trucks.
So that's just a basin that holds fuel and
No,
water.
The
it's
tank,
the
the,
pump that you put in the truck.
and the tanks
How
are
does the,
so-
how does
tanks
the
are up
rainwater
front.
get out of that basin is my question.
So where the truck's sitting, theoretically, off of their calculations, with the slope that we have built into that driveway, when it
Mhm.
comes out, if it happened, that should hold it.
Right, but if a truck pulls in and it's covered with snow and ice and the water's falling off of the truck, where does that water go?
Right below it.
Into the storm drain?
No, it holds itself right there. They have to push it out and pump it out if it gets bad.
And then that's where it goes through a filtration system then that's on site?
Nope, no, I don't, I don't know if they've addressed the snow and water. All they told me is that it was dished out for that from the fuel supplier, the supplying the
Yeah.
tanks. But that's how
So-
his drawing
okay.
is, the fuel, if it gets in there, and then they would pump that out. So as far as like dealing with rain and snow, I don't know, they addressed that.
Now, the way I'm reading this is, so the slope, so truck, the truck on the bottom.
There's a
The truck on the
facing each
bottom,
direction.
so there's this way, slope away from the truck and then slope away from the building. The same in the back, slope away from the truck and away from the building. I think that would be your water, that'd be your snow and ice runoff would be that direction. Now, fuel leak would be contained within the, if it,
No, between the rigs, right? See where the cross, right over the rig?
Mhm.
Yeah, so
That's,
that's your
that's the
containment.
drain.
That's your
But
containment.
where does it
Mhm.
drain to? And then inside of that basin that they're building for the 15,000 gallons of fuel.
right,
If there's 15,000 gallons of fuel that spill in there and a 2-inch rainstorm happens, where does it go?
So the
That's my
rainstorm,
question.
he told me they have a bath that they can open it up if it's full of water,
Mm-hmm,
but then otherwise it's closed,
mm-hmm.
just to contain if a fuel spill happens.
Right, but the question is where does it go? Like, is it going to storm? Is it going through filtration? What happens when that happens?
If per se a fuel spill happened, it stays right there until we can get hazmat over there to pump it out.
Correct.
Rid of it. Snow, ice, they have a baffle they can open up to just let it, to disperse through the gravel on the side of the drive.
But that's our groundwater.
What's that?
We drink that water. Our pump is just up the road. Our groundwater pump, our ground well for our city water.
Right.
So if we were to dump 15,000 gallons of fuel into the gravel, that's not gonna go
No,
well.
I'm not saying, it would, if, it's held there as a measure, but it's a head gate.
Mm-hmm.
So that if there is fuel, then it has a place in that box that we can pump it out.
Okay.
To pump it out. But then if it's just full, there's no fuel dropping, it's just, say we have a flood. But I don't think it's gonna take too much water in there because of the shorter area of anything sheeting off from rain or whatnot, but say it does fill up with water, then they can open the head gate to let the water out. Clean water, if it wasn't clean, then we have to pump it.
Mm-hmm.
If that boiler fuel explode.
Okay.
Okay, other questions?
And
for
if you guys, I
petitioner?
mean, if you have another idea on that, we're all ears. This is just what, this company's out of Boise that we're buying the equipment from, so. That's what they've done and a few others, and then if you guys are interested, get you any of the documentation we have. On that. Okay, we're basically just copying a format they've used in other places.
Right.
And just to be clear, the comment from, Public Works and Engineering, I mean, these are valid questions. The comments that they were addressing were for these drains
Yeah,
over
there's-
here by the building.
There's three
Right.
of them, right? There's the, on our drawing,
And
there's
one,
one up here.
yeah.
But these two that are tied in, these two boxes that are out there, they will not be tied into storm.
No, these down here, you're saying no.
Yeah.
But that's Tyson's concern, or this one, and this one. And so I think if it was me, I would say part of our approval or denial, whatever, would be that we give them a chance to review the engineer and just make sure that these, are sloped properly, so containment that happens here, but I also I think we ought to ask Dana to look at, as Dean has mentioned, is if this fills up with water, are we at risk? Oh, someone opens up the blast gates, lets it go, but forgets to close it, and then we get a drain, a leakage, or if the oil. So I think it would be worth for us to have our engineer review those, since none of us are engineers, per se up here, that this is our specialty. So I think that's a good catch. So.
And it would not be difficult at all to worry about an outlet. If we need to put a oil water separator or something like
Yeah.
that, side of that.
That's why I think if you guys worked with our engineer on it, I think it's very, very doable.
I would hope that the building code has provisions in there that have requirements for these basins and the retentions and stuff. So the IRC should have that.
Or something like that. This is just a little bit of a different animal that we haven't been
Yeah.
around too many times before, but so,
Yeah.
we're more than happy to do anything we need to do to. Yeah.
This is just a morbid question. I'm gonna throw it out there so it's public information. Right now, Pleasant View City just makes property tax off of the footprint of Pepsi. But now that you're gonna be offering fuel that has to be purchased for over the
See,
road,
This is just,
This is only
this is just for their own fleet. So everybody's saying that, oh, they're worried about the traffic. That's not us.
I'm not worried about the traffic. I'm worried about the tax dollars. Do we actually get tax dollars from the fuel sales now?
I'm just a ditch digger. Trucks.
Most likely no, because all they're doing is buying it and just putting it in their own truck, so they can hedge.
But their own trucks are using public roads, so that's a taxed. Cause we don't have a place in Pleasant View where they can go fuel their trucks. I know that you're just the contractor building this, but we don't have a fuel station that can handle the truck sizes and volume of Pepsi. Like they don't fuel at Maverick that I've ever seen. So they're fueling somewhere off site. So I was just curious if this happens, and I don't see why we can't do it, but if it was gonna generate any tax dollars for the city on fuel sales. Not a question for you. That's for them. So.
Okay, any other questions for the petitioner?
Any
I'm
chance
good,
we can address the fencing on that? Over 30 years, Admiral has built right up to the property line. Why has a masonry fence never been required?
You would probably have to ask that to the approving body that did this when they
Yeah.
built before. That was it could have been the code then, codes could have changed.
The only one that was discussed was, if you zoom back out or go to the other one. Yeah, this is A2, this isn't working. This is A2 over here. And so the only spot that it would connect is right here. So it's not even connected, the part is not even connected to the RE20 zone, right? I mean. where this
It'll
is
be
separated.
it'll be adjacent to the cemetery for the width of the extension.
We shouldn't be putting a cemetery there anyway.
Not the part where it's actually on there, and they already have a masonry wall back there on that back side where the trucks back up to next to the church, right?
All along there is RE20. The entire north boundary is RE20. Why has a masonry fence never been required? It just, we require this of a lot of, every other commercial development. Why not this development?
And they did perfectly. Yeah.
Commissioner Gostner, it's nearly impossible for us to answer for previous bodies that sat at this dais.
I understood it has a history, but I just, I don't see a point where they'll ever have a masonry fence if we keep approving every site plan amendment.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for petitioner.
Jim.
Appreciate Jim. I do know, because I was here when they put on the addition, that was a lot of discussion, partly because of the added, all of the trailers, the added height of the berm, and I believe the fence line in there. That's what the group at the time chose to accept at that time, because there was a buffer between the groups that were in there. I think if that section was already 20 and it was going to housing, that would be maybe something for consideration, but where this is me talking, this is just an open discussion now. That part where they're doing the actual section is down. Let's see, I'm gonna get turned around again. So I'm driving this way and this way is down here. Is not even connected up to the adjacent areas. So this is still A2 is where they're actually doing their
Just has a vinyl fence.
yeah, and it's a chain, but I think the argument was because of the trailer buffer and the berm of it.
Yeah.
That we were okay, and then they did the big berm on the 2700 because that was the discussion.
I agree with staff. I don't think we can require them to build a cement fence because they want to put a gas pump in.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Just one quick question. So after this meeting's over, what, just have a review from Jones and then.
Yeah, we'll just have, yeah,
Depends on
depending
what
on
we
what
decide here.
what their decision is, then, we'll get clarification from you for these questions from Jones. And then,
So when should I check that?
Wait till we finish here tonight and then we'll make a decision for you. So give us 10 minutes.
Tomorrow. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. I'm confused now, but we haven't voted yet. So nothing's been decided. So we could actually, if we had a big question that came up, we wouldn't be able to answer it. So therefore it may get tabled and so that get extended, but I'm a little confused. Something I said or didn't say, so. Okay, open for discussion. Are we
Public hearing.
we do need open for public hearing. Are we recommending body on this one? Are we approving or recommending?
we're approving.
We're approving. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so, since this needs to be a public hearing, do I have a motion to open a public hearing?
I'll make the motion that we open for a public hearing.
Manya's made a motion to open. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second by Brian. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are now open for a public hearing. Do we have anybody in the vast audience that would like to address us? No, that's why I was asked. I knew that was kind of the answer, but I was asking purposely.
Just want to,
State your name.
I understand the frustration with
Sarah, you're report.
930 West, 3550 North. So I understand wanting to have nicer fences and the aesthetics and stuff, but unless it's actually in our code or a requirement of approval, we can't just say, we would like you to do that and expect that to be done. And if it was done before the code, nice, our city administrator explained it absolutely 100%. Unless if it was done before we adopted something like that, we can't retroactively go back and make somebody change something or make it a condition of go back and change that in order for us to approve this now. You can't do that. That's against the law. And unless it's in our code and staff would have required it, if it was in our code, we can't make them do that. If you want somebody to do a different fence, change your code.
And for the record, it was a very hot topic. It actually lasted probably a couple meetings. And the majority of the commission, because of the buffer of what was there.
Sure,
They did
but-
put up a fence and there is
Is it
property.
in your code?
No, I'm just saying,
Then you can't do it.
well.
It is part of the code. If you,
No, it's not.
They eliminated the buffer on that side because they had the trucks. And so that's why they didn't even want to ask for it. They said there's no need for it.
But unless it's in your conditions of approval or a code or an ordinance and stuff, which I know our staff knows those things. You can't retroactively do anything, you can't hold that as a condition of approval. You can ask, but they don't have to.
Ask Tammy. Tammy, is there a masonry wall required between commercial and residential?
Between commercial and residential.
But they're not,
Andy's looking it up.
They're still-
Almost every city I know of has that regulation, and I would just
but
bet dimes and dollars.
even if they did,
They're asking for a site plan amendment. If we don't ask for it on a site plan amendment, when would we ask for it?
So there is. Sorry, I'm trying to see Andrea's screen. So there is a screening requirement for a minimum 6-foot concrete or masonry wall be required between or in rear or side yards adjacent to residential zones or uses. Where
So if we don't ask for it on them, we can't ask for it on any other commercial development.
It's not true.
that's not how that works. Okay, we're
Well,
still
you
in a
just have
public
to be-
hearing. Do we have any other public that would like to speak at this time on this topic? Hearing no more public comment, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll motion to close the public hearing.
Dean's motion to close. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Now close the public hearing. We'll go ahead and move for discussion. So Dave, what's your thoughts? It's easier to open it up to you first since you're remote.
We've got a planned cemetery on the other side of that fence. I plan to be buried in that cemetery. I don't really want to watch semis pass through all day long.
going to be watching semis at that point.
So awesome.
We try to have fun here for the audience. If you don't, you have to laugh and we cry. So what would be your thoughts or your recommendations? I mean, based on what we're allowed to ask for? I mean.
Well, I would
that's, I
think that
guess,
we could at least
as
ask for
this group-
the new portion, that I don't know what the width and the length of that segment is, but they plan on putting concrete right up to the fence line. They should be putting a masonry fence on the new portion.
Concrete doesn't go all over the fence line, does it?
I don't think so.
I don't think it does. I think it's quite a ways.
No, it shows all circling their building. They don't want their semi trucks driving on gravel.
The dark gray area, new concrete slab, I don't know, sorry. The dark gray area on the site plan does show new concrete all along here. I don't know what it is currently. I don't know if it's currently gravel or if they're replacing concrete, I'm not sure.
Pretty sure it's weeds.
Yeah, I think it's weeds right now.
Oh, please.
West side.
The concrete, the existing concrete drive is there, the west of that.
Looking that up, other comments, questions, thoughts, project?
Was this screened to code when it was done many years ago?
Was it,
The screening, was that to code now? I see that it's like a,
I don't even personally know when the addition was done.
Can you pull up the other
Or
side,
the-
man?
I'm thinking in general, the,
Which other side of it was the?
That one.
The addition?
He built it. I don't know.
Yeah, about 10 years ago.
So
Yeah.
That's just kind of standard boilerplate to have a masonry wall between commercial and residential.
I could do it on short notice.
Thoughts, comments? Personally, I see what they're trying to do, trying to manage their fuel costs. It is for their fleet. It's not gonna add to the traffic. It's just the trucks that they've got inside and out. I would wager that that's what they're doing, is just doing like all the other large businesses, making it more convenient for them to do their own, in and out for their own trucks. My thought is I see no issues with it. I think it stays congruent with the rest of the property that's been existing up to this point. It's not gonna be right up against the agriculture zone, the A2 zone that we're seeing. It's not against the current RE20 where the church is. I don't even remember what it was zoned at the time. I do know that was a heavy discussion. So I personally, I don't see an issue with that, but I'm open to other direction.
Just for the record, staff would contend that with or without the masonry wall, those trucks are gonna be driving through
Oh,
there
still.
regardless of
Absolutely.
the fueling
Yeah.
station or not.
They drive,
They're already driving there now.
if they're driving
that's the
through, yeah, they're
concern.
driving through that same path to get to Flying J, or they just drive there and stop to get fueled up as they pass by. So,
Right, but with the drive there
yeah,
now,
they're still driving.
they're driving there right now.
Yeah, because they've asked their trucks not to enter from 1,000, they enter from 89, and that's the exact same route as they go up on the north side and then around the back side. So that doesn't, you're correct, that does not change anything that currently is already done. So, Manya, thoughts?
I don't see any issue with what has been proposed.
Brian?
I think if we were to ask them to do the wall, I think that should have been done when we did the rest of it. So I don't see that that's relevant to the fuel situation.
Okay. Okay, I'm hearing a little bit of consensus. It doesn't mean we all agree. The one thing I would suggest, or I would like to see in a motion, if someone would like to make one, is I would recommend that we have the petitioner review with our engineer Tyson to make sure Tyson's concerns are met on the 3 drains question. And also I think that we should ask that our engineer and Tyson look at the actual platforms or the actual loading area contained in that exit being brought up as a potential concern. What happens if the water fills up that, we have a heavy rain or runoff? How does that get put out into the gravel, and we make sure that there's not left open, and,
Well, it
then there's
sounded,
other fuels. We
it's-
just,
sounded like they were open to also putting a scrubber of some, or filter of some
Right.
sort, so that would probably be a good idea.
and since this, we haven't approved a lot of fuel places, and, fuel stations, if a gas station went right there, they would have to meet specific requirements. So I think we just double check that they're meeting the requirements of a fuel station.
Right, and I just want to point out that the full set goes to engineering. So
Yes.
they only brought forth the concerns of the storm drains, so they've,
They've
reviewed
probably already
the full
reviewed it.
plan set.
And we're just gonna ask to make sure, did they review that? If
Right.
they say, oh, already did, then we're done. But
Right.
I would recommend our group ask specifically that the Jones, Dana's group takes one more look at that. So yeah, we're good.
Okay.
So that would be my thought. Okay, would anybody like to attempt a motion? One way or the other?
I'll move that we recommend. We are recommending? or-
Approve.
Yes, recommending approval.
We are approving.
approving.
We are approving.
You are.
I move that we approve the amendment to approve the site plan for the addition of the fueling station at the business located at 2780 North US 89, with contingent upon the review of the storm drain question posed by the city engineering staff.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
A second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'm still opposed. The sins of the past don't change the current situation.
Okay, for the record, there's 5 yeas and Dave is a negative on this, nay on this. Okay, thank you very much for that. Usually we thank the petitioner for coming and have him get with staff and they could get a timetable set up for the next step, which is approval criteria with the engineer. We'd like to go ahead and move to items 3C with conditional use permit. Consideration of a conditional use permit for a fast food restaurant located in an existing building located at 1142 West, 2700 North. I'll ask staff Tammy to go ahead and present at this time.
Okay. So this is an application for a conditional use permit, which is for the building located at 1142 West. I'm sorry, on your thing it says 200 North, it's 2700 North.
This is 2700.
Sorry, typo. And this.
It's also 1145.
1145. Well, on their application, this is the address they have, so I missed getting that correction. The conditional use would be for a fast food restaurant in the C2 zone. That is a conditional use. It's proposed for an existing building that has already been approved for their site plan with regards to parking, access, it meets the parking requirements. It actually shares, sorry, let me scroll down. Shares access with other complexes or with other businesses in the complex. Sorry, this is the item that we took off.
Was that wasn't the petitioners that just left little 2B, was it? Were they expecting us to review that or?
We had a meeting this afternoon, a Zoom meeting this afternoon with the applicant.
So they
for
knew
that.
it was tabled or pulled.
I don't know if they got the memo or not.
Okay.
So. Thank you, another. Anyway, so the permitted and conditional uses, this is where the fast food restaurant comes up as conditional in the C2 zone. The site requirements for height, landscaping, all of that was addressed at the site plan of the approval of the building.
It's your second attachment,
This is
isn't
my
it?
second attachment. Thank you. So we have our list of permitted and conditional uses. Parking, for the parking requirements, restaurants, and in our code, it just defines restaurants as sit down or with and without alcohol. And so the restaurants parking requirement is 10 per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area, plus 1/2 space for each employee on the highest employment shift. The square footage of this unit is about 1,200 square feet. There is no sit-down dining in this location. It's strictly just pick up and go. So they have 8 existing stalls directly adjacent to the front of the building and 12 stalls, including 2 ADA stalls to the west of the building. That is the location of the dental office. But then there's plenty of, I can't remember how many other stalls there are, but out shared parking with the whole complex, there's quite a bit of other parking available. For a sit-down restaurant, 1,200 square feet would require 12 parking stalls for the 1,200 plus 5 stalls for employees. So total of available stalls would be 17. as I said, there's no sit-down dining. So the requirement is not as great as if it were a sit-down restaurant. They've got all their, I've attached all their plans and everything to your packet. But just to zoom in here, this area here, so here's where their proposed location is, their parking, but there is parking that's accessible all over here.
Accessible, but is that truly a shared?
Yes,
I couldn't remember if there was,
Yeah.
because that was a big discussion.
It is.
If
Yeah.
that was like an agreed upon.
yes, there's a parking agreement with that.
The conditions are through it.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
You know.
Yeah.
whole area, that is awesome.
So,
And but as far as a sit down, I agree that less, but sometimes you have for this business, for the record, but sometimes you can have 8 or 9 people standing in line. waiting.
yeah,
So I mean, it's a good thing to have, a good problem to
Yeah.
have, but I don't know if we're saying we need X amount for
right,
employees and 10 for the down. You could have that many people standing in line. Unfortunately, I've had to stand in that line occasionally, but
but you do have also, I mean, peak hours for Little Caesars or something, that type is gonna be in the evening. The dental office would be closed. So, you know, you'd have access to parking over too.
did the demo because it was supposed to be 3 units and I think they
So this-
connected the two just
The dental office took 2,
Okay,
so this is the remaining last unit.
okay.
So we haven't had any public comments or calls or emails about it. Any signs that they would be, using would be reviewed separately on a building
Meaning
permit.
no flag signs. When that comes from permit request, make sure we put that in
No flag
writing.
signs.
I hate those little flag
Maybe.
things that wave. They are not part of our code.
So,
They have the guy.
Oh, you dance all you want, just not those things that looked hammered and a week later. Okay, any questions for staff?
Can I clarify, was this the spec building that butts up to the old front runner station there?
yes,
Yes, yes, it's pretty darn, it does, because it's the last property. Here's your front runner station and it.
Not this,
Pretty-
it's not the spec building though, isn't it a brand new one?
Well, it was built as a spec about 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Mine was helped answered because I didn't know if that was a joint parking area, so I'll answer that one. That was part of the discussion before, was it was going to be an office type of thing, so less parking needed for that area. I'm gonna hold my next question for a minute. Other questions, comments, thoughts? Questions
No.
for the staff? Okay, I assume we have the petitioner here with us. If you'd like to come up, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Josh Cook, address 430 North, 300 East, Moroni.
If you have any comments that we should be aware of or that can help us out in our decision, or
No,
Okay.
not really.
questions for the petitioner?
Will, just a couple, maybe they're not related, but they are. Will they use the drive-through? Will this location be using the drive-through that's built into that's in that building?
Yes,
Okay.
to my knowledge, we will. Correct, Danny? Yeah, if it's got a drive.
You jumped ahead of me, because that's where I'm gonna go
And
next.
the second question I was gonna, how about delivery? Will this location have delivery and have vehicles?
Not
using-
personally, but we do DoorDash,
DoorDash.
Grubhub, all that stuff.
But that would be like a customer coming and going, not a fleet. Not a fleet.
No, not, it'd be like an individual coming in and
Yeah.
delivering it for one specific. So, yeah, we don't have delivery personally
I didn't
ourselves. Yeah.
think so.
Other questions for the petitioner?
I got nothing.
Okay, one question I'm gonna ask of staff Cause I don't believe when this building was built that it had the conditional built-in to be used with drive-throughs. So there were several of us that were surprised when they built a drive-through in their spec building. So in mine, I'm gonna ask staff that that be one of our conditional uses because that may have to come back for approval. So just be aware that for that drive-through to be used, it may not be permitted at this time. Because it was not permitted as a drive-through, to my knowledge. That's something.
But
we would have staff.
I thought it was. We
I
talked a
don't
lot
think
about we talked a lot about the berm height and things like that, but I'm pretty sure that they had the drive-through lanes on the site plan.
Lanes, but I don't think they ever did. Do you think so? So we'll just have them check on that. If it is, it may. Did the building have that? So, because we'll talk, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, oh, I remember the discussion of the berm because they wanted to put it closer to the road, so they put the berm instead of keeping the distance to the road because that was our drive-through.
Yep.
Yeah, Dean said just do it.
I said, let's do it.
But I don't think they had a drive-through at the time in the first, so that's one thing. Yeah,
That means that if everything comes true with CSM, our city's gonna smell like pizza.
Yeah.
And pie and
I'm hungry already.
the winning combination.
yep. Okay, any other questions for the petitioner? If not, thank you.
Joe, can I ask a question?
Yes,
If you go back and find that it was all approved,
then
we won't need to come back, correct?
Nope.
So just found the staff report from 2023, December of 2023, and it has the two
perfect.
pop-out drive.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Yep.
Perfect. That's why we're supposed to ask ourselves, because
Hey.
my memory makes it as far as this afternoon.
This is
So-
interesting. I love this because usually I'm up there, down in Verona. So
So hopefully we're not doing it too different, right?
Uh.
Because we're all supposed to be doing
It's
it the
good.
same.
no, it's great. I love it. So
Welcome.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Josh.
You bet.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Dave, any questions, comments?
No, I'm hungry already.
Okay, we need to open up for a public hearing. Do we have a motion to open for public hearing?
I'll motion to open for public hearing.
Dean's made motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Manya second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any questions or comments from the public audience that would like to address us on this issue? Okay, hearing none, take a motion to close the public hearing.
Oh, I got this one. I'll motion to close for public hearing.
Dean's made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Ryan second. All in favor, say aye.
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 It's, we are now closed. We open for discussion or a motion.
I'm ready to motion.
Okay,
I would like to motion to approve the item for the Little Caesars drive-through. What
well,
else?
just,
Food restaurant.
fast
Fast
food
food
restaurant.
restaurant. And it's item 3C on tonight's agenda. I motion to we approve as staff recommended. The only conditions inside of the staff recommendation is any proposed sign to be reviewed and approved through the building permit process. That's my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second by Manya. Any discussion? My only discussion item is thank you for the, Andrea, for looking that up for us. That answered the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you very much. We look forward to you guys coming. We're just going through our hoops. So
Super
my
excited.
family will be excited to have that in. My boy will want to stop every night once he sees that is there. So. Okay, our next item, 3D, vacate a public utility easement. Consideration to vacate a
again.
public utility easement for the property located approximately 1025 west, 3000 north. We'll turn the time over to Tammy.
Okay, so this one, we've had a lot of these vacations recently. this one is for the city. We are the applicants.
Do you want to pull the map up on that if you would?
Yep.
I think we know where it's at, but
So this is for the location of the cemetery, proposed cemetery. There is there's
got
an
issues.
easement, public utility easement that runs across the midsection of the two parcels. So along here. Actually, let me go to this other plan here. This is sideways. You just have to imagine, but, so this is where the easement is. So we're just proposing vacating this easement. Andrea has been working tirelessly to get these release letters from the utilities. There are 3 that she's not able to get. She has reached out multiple times. And they are Connects, Optic Loop, and CenturyLink. It has been, and I should let Andrea tell you, it's been a couple months probably that she's. Started in mid-December.
Wow.
That she's been working on this. And a couple of these utility companies are just really hard answers. So the cemetery is not gonna need Optic Loop or Connects to go in there. Nobody's gonna need fiber.
You never know, you might want to
Uh,
cancel.
So, you know, I mean, you never know. There you go. So, you know, pretty just straightforward. We've got the releases from these other entities, Boa Vista, Central Weaver, Questar, Enbridge, Rocky Mountain Power, Weaver Box Elder, Strata Networks, Centawave, and Comcast. So the other 3 are still outstanding. You can either approve with those outstanding or approve contingent on getting those, and we'll just keep working on it. But obviously, we would recommend approving the vacation of this.
What is the potential repercussion of approving it without that? And then if they, for some reason, didn't give approval?
You know, we've thrown around the possibility of changing our requirements and saying if we can get an answer back, and this is for everybody, set a time limit of 45 days, 60 days, whatever, of when you initially contact them. And so I don't know, I mean, that's not obviously in our ordinance or anything yet, but it's an extensive amount of time.
Yeah.
I don't know as far as repercussions, what's going to be developed on the other side of that. If the other side of that, we do know, is our decant facility.
yeah, I was gonna say, can
So
you go
there's
back out to the map that's over the,
So
Mm.
this is the city property too, where decant facility and public works yard.
So-
It's going to be,
is the cemetery just gonna be this area here, right?
it's these 2,
So,
there.
so behind the church and
Yeah.
to the north of it.
Yes,
So the access is gonna come in this way
right,
through the,
off of 1000.
up 1,000, and then it'll go either way.
Uh-huh,
And so what we're just looking at, is it this one or is
Right.
it this?
it's
It's
the
this one.
middle one that connects. the
And there's nothing there being used at this time. I have a hard time because everybody else, we said, yes, we pass it pending you get the last 2 or the last 3 or whatever. And as soon as you get those, then you can go. And we just did that a month ago to somebody, they didn't have everything, but we didn't want to hold it up. We said, as soon as you have it, you got our blessing. And I hate to do something that we're not. Here's a crazy question is, do these guys do business with us?
Do they do, well, next.
Well,
sure does.
can we just send them a letter and say we're holding any payments to you and we're billing you double?
They'll turn off our internet. They've done it already when the and we didn't have phones or computers here.
I just,
Oh.
just like, it's like, we're gonna ask that you leave our city unless you respond to what, you know, you want us to pay the bill, but you won't even respond to our.
Doesn't the state have statutes for replies on that stuff? If you send a
I
formal,
wish we had some, because I hate to say, oh, well, let's city do something
If you-
different than we do for everybody else, right?
if you send a demand letter for a response and the demand letter says you've got 15 days to respond, or you're gonna take action to pursue vacating the easement.
Like that.
Yeah. I can't imagine it being that complicated.
I would like to point out that this is a little different than other vacation, the public utility easements, in that our road connection that goes through there, all of the utilities that we require will be run through that road, and there will also be added 10-foot utility easements along the road. So we're giving up this one, but they're adding, so if they were wanting to run through there, they would still have
That option.
access, but I don't know why they'd be running it out that way. But in the event that they wanted to, yeah, they could come through that roadway.
There'll be a new.
Yeah.
We're replacing one with the other.
I just-
Now, see, I can say, yeah, we're gonna vacate that because we're adding, we're moving the easement. I mean, we could say that in the wording, right? And that sounds, we're not skipping easement, we're approving the easement because we're moving the easement to the side of the road. That sounds more accessible. I mean, that's, okay, we need to open for a public hearing. Do we have anybody that wants to make a motion to move, open public hearing?
I moved to open public hearing.
We have an open for a public hearing. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I think Brian.
You got
All in favor, say aye.
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 Well, for public. Would you like to address us on this? Otherwise, we gotta pick something that you come and. Are there any other comments on the public hearing?
I'll second his motion.
We have a motion by Dean. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Mine is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, open for conversation, discussion. I like what we're doing. I like the suggestion that we're opening another easement. I was having a little heartburn of doing something that we don't do for other people, because we've sent people back to the drawing board, but whereas we're adding 2 whole new easements that can be worked with and around the outer property, I see no need to change the wording, but that's my comment.
And just, you know, for me, nothing is in, there's nothing in the easement path. There's utilities and right.
Not that we can't dig up easy,
Well, I understand.
just.
That's funny. Cemetery.
My days with, in my days with another company, there were many times they came to us, cities would come to us, say the hole's open now, you have 6 months to get in, you know, the hole is gonna be closed for 10 years. And it's not, it happened many, many times when those were in more streets, and I didn't want to have streets torn up every 6
Yeah.
months, but once the hole's open, we had to get in.
Yeah. Any other comments? If not, would anybody like to make a motion?
Ooh, I like vacations.
Go ahead, Dean.
I don't know if I dare because we don't have all of our stuff in place, but I'll motion to approve item 3D to vacate the public utility easement at 1025 West, 3000 North for the petitioner of Pleasant View City as presented by staff.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Manya. We're open for discussion on the motion and on the table. Thoughts?
I don't think we should be building the city facilities and the cemetery at the entrance of our city, but that has nothing to do with the motion. Just wanted to get it out of my system.
Okay, any
They've
other
been looking
discussion?
for years that, you know, this site wasn't easy to get.
Yes, but we shouldn't be using the focal point of our city for a cemetery and our city offices.
Hmm.
That property has much more higher potential as income instead of just dead property, if you will. It's also one of the lowest points in the county, and if we do get into an earthquake with liquefaction, it's just gonna pop everybody up out of the ground, and we should be putting people up higher on the hill. So
Yeah.
that doesn't.
I wish we had a pretty hillside site. I really do too. But um, I know Leonard has put a lot of time getting what we did, and the church gave us a good deal on the land.
Nice. That's good.
Okay, that's all besides the point. We've got a motion on the table to vacate the easement. My discussion is the fact we're putting in the road. And so I do like that added addition for those if they are needed in the future. Any other discussion? We'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? David, what was that? Was that a positive?
Yes, I'm all in favor.
So it's unanimous.
On
that we
the
vacate.
cemetery down there.
Great, thank you very much. I think that that has actually been a hot topic of discussion from a lot of people out in the community, so it's interesting to listen to that. Go that way. Is there anything from a commissioner's business? Once again, thank you for coming for the second dates. Can we just, from my standpoint, can we just confirm the dates one more time? So that's on everybody's plate. What are we looking at?
April 16th for the next meeting.
And will that be once that month, or are we gonna try to do two again? Do we need to do two again?
It'll just be one.
Okay,
And then May 7th.
A-
The next.
April 16th and May 7th. So if everybody will take a chance to look at that on your calendar, make sure that we're available, and if we need to, we'll add in to keep things moving. Anything else from the commission? Anything else from the staff?
No, thank you so much.
That was so
Yes.
easy.
This is not to be critical, but Tammy puts a lot of time and effort into her staff reports and into putting those packets together. I would just ask, please read those
Oh, yeah.
beforehand. And Andy, I love your questions, but it would be a lot easier for us to research that ahead of time. So if anybody poses a question, we generally will take that question, answer it, and send it back out to the whole commission. It's easier to find stuff ahead of time rather than on the spot.
Yep.
Even if it takes us that time to get to the meeting before we can get you an answer.
Understood.
Yeah,
I've just been traveling and very limited on my time here, so.
yeah. But yeah, any advance notice is helpful, so we're not
Absolutely.
scrambling.
No, and we appreciate Tammy you getting them out a lot earlier.
Mhm.
I was reading it on an airplane, so do appreciate that, so.
But I do appreciate that everyone
Oh, no, this is great.
comes and is involved, because it's, not a position that people are just, jumping over each other to get.
Well, and we're super happy to have Brian a full commissioner now. He's finished his
Thanks.
required training, so
Oh,
we're
good.
glad that he's here and then available to help us out because we're a little short right now. We've got a couple more spots that we're trying to fill. Well, one more spot, one more alternate at this time, but
Are there enough people that have applied and they're just trying to get through them, or, okay?
the mayor's working on going through the application. Letters of interest or whatever, so.
Nice.
Okay, hearing none, I'll take motion that we close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
See how you- Now you got me curious. Anything we can help you with?
No, my son burned dinner and I was done with taxes. I'm impressed. I was trying to get paperwork in the chief. Everybody I've talked to,